And listen, sometimes have to be we use others, you know, to get a message through. And I've been saying this, you've been saying this, Tracy has been saying this about this young man for quite some time. And it's a crazy, man, when you talking about stuff, he can relate to this because his camp goes through this all the time. They, you know, they see the future. You know what I mean? They have excellent foresight, you know. And a lot of times people in this camp, Ye or himself or whoever, says things that people don't quite understand. And the only thing separating them from understanding is time.
Yep.
It's time. You know, people receive things at different moments. You know, it's time. And we were saying something way in advance, I think, when because we could recognize it. I get feelings. I get sparks. I've always received sparks in my heart when something special was in the midst. I could always tell prior to even coming into hip-hop.
Right.
You know, I was that kid in kindergarten that was saying stuff that people was like, huh?
Tapped in
And didn't know what I was saying. And then you see those things come to fruition. So when I was younger, I stopped saying stuff because it was spooking folks. Not my family members. T.
Right.
Cal will tell you, my grandmother tell you, my mother, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of people who have those gifts and those talents. When we first heard this young man spit in front of us, we was way ahead, HB. We were way ahead of everybody else recognizing his talent. And we've seen him since go from one of the most celebrated lyricists, songwriters, alchemists, visionaries, activists, hustlers, artists, performers, friend,
Lord.
brother,
Yep.
Conrad, colleague, pillar, legend now in the game. I'm talking about the one and only Cyhi The Prynce.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
Incredible man.
That was a great intro right there.
It's all truth.
Man,
Accurate.
we might need to use that for a project.
Why not? It was accurate.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that, man. I'm glad y'all got me here. You know, this family right here.
Yeah, this family, man.
Yeah, this is like a barbecue.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a barbecue, man.
Long
Barbecue.
weekend vibes.
Yeah,
For
man.
sure, for sure.
I miss you. You know, we
Yes.
haven't seen each other since pre-pandemic.
Yes.
Absolutely, man.
A lot has happened.
A lot has happened, bro.
Yeah,
Yes, we blessed, though.
we blessed, right?
Absolutely.
We are truly blessed. We're here to celebrate your project, EGOT,
Yeah, the story of EGOT.
the story of EGOT.
Yes.
What does EGOT stand for? It's the same thing as
Yes, the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. I actually went into my album. I was like, man, like I kind of wanted to, you know, elevate my mind, elevate my music, everything I was dreaming about. I used to be like, man, I just want to be a rapper. I just want to do a song with Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? You know, God is incredible. He'd be like, you know what? I'm going to give you what you asked for as soon as you get in here. So I kind of like stopped at that dream. Like, man, I did a song with Jay-Z and it was just like, I'm with Kanye. It's like you at the zenith of rap in so many words. But then, you know, man, I had a real life experience a year ago, and it just kind of put in my mind, like, man, it's time for you to go further. You can't just rest on your laurels. It's like, you know, what do you really want to become? So I just kind of dug down and been like, okay, I actually want to win an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and a
there
Tony.
you go.
You know what I mean? So I think that's where I just started. So I just named my record label EGOT Records, and the album is the story of EGOT. And we got the EGOT EP coming first. But the album is incredible. It's actually broken up into 4 sections. So I have a Emmy section that sounds like, you know, television sitcom. I got a Grammy section that's straight, just, you know, great music. The Oscar section is very cinematic. And the Tony is just me, you know, spoken word, me just going to that level
wow.
of
So creative.
theater. So
You doing spoken word?
yeah,
brother?
it's theater, everything. It's monologues, it's all type of foolishness. So I'm going crazy.
You going crazy?
I'm going crazy.
What was was the life experience? What happened on the highway?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so for you guys over here, I remember you talking about this 2021. Some people were chasing you on the highway, trying to take your life.
Absolutely. And, you know, it took me back to like, man, it was kind of crazy because you know how you be like so far removed, like, man, I got out the street.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then I realized, like, man, when your skin this color, it just, you just got to be super careful. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it was just a bad night. I was actually going out to celebrate the passing of one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And then it just happened on the same night. It was like, whoa, it was eerie. So, you know, I just worked my moves and did everything I can do to stay alive at that night.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm here today. I still don't know what happened. It's like,
you don't know who did it, why, nothing.
Wow.
I mean, my city is in kind of like turmoil a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, and it's once you bring the gangs and violence all into it, it's like everybody free game at that point.
Yeah.
So the police was like, man, you just look like a rapper. You reacted like a rapper. I was like, he was like, you reacted like a street nigga. I was like, what?
He said street nigga?
I mean, he was acting like he was like they was following you because they I guess it was like a mistaken identity.
Mm-hmm.
But me, I'm like a dude just pulling up on the side of me. He, you know what I mean? He like, I'm trying to pull off.
Yeah.
He ain't let me pull off. He like, just following me a certain way. So I went for what I know. You know what I mean? And it's like, you reacted. I'm like, bro, I'm in a Bentley and a dude following me. Absolutely, I'm going for what I know. So it just, I had to kick in my Navy SEAL, skill sets and prayed to God and got to it, and I made it out. And I was an athlete growing up, so they don't have to catch me.
You play football too?
Absolutely.
Oh, there you go, man. Come
Absolutely.
on, man.
I was all county in
Come
ninth
on.
grade.
Well, somebody give that man a round of applause. I know what it's like to be that.
Absolutely. Junior Olympics twice.
What position you play?
So I played tailback and slot.
Okay, I didn't play till I played linebacker and cornerback.
Oh, you look like a linebacker.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Si.
I was just trying to get away from him.
Yeah. When you saw when I hugged you, it was pretty tight clamp, right?
Yeah, you got the physique. You got the physique.
Yeah, thank you, brother. A lot of ladies say that too, Si.
Oh, chill out,
That's
man.
my guy right there, man. He ain't scared to tell you a compliment. How has your mindset changed since that incident?
Mm-hmm.
Well, unfortunately, I am from that environment.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's like, it's sad, but when you black, you just grow up in it. It ain't like you don't really got a choice. I don't care if you grew up in a nice neighborhood. Still gonna have, police prejudice. You still gonna be looked at a certain kind of way. You still gonna go to the party, and if a fight jump off, it ain't gonna just end with the fight. You know what I mean? It's just like, so you already kind of trained as a young man growing up in these environments. So, I mean, I just move a little wiser, a lot wiser, actually. And, I just took myself more serious. I never took myself that serious.
What does that mean, though? Like, how you spend your time?
Right. Who you surround yourself with?
Yeah, but it's like, I've been talented so long, it's like you kind of like, you don't really appreciate it like that. You know what I mean? I could just been able to rap better than everybody. I've been able to run.
Talk your shit.
I've been able to dance, sing. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is just what
not
God
normal
gave to
to
me.
you.
It's like, this come with the melanin. You know what I mean? It just come with it. You know what I mean? But, that situation, I said this in a song. It was like being alive at my funeral.
Wow.
When I posted it, to see how many people just love you, it's like, damn, like, oh, okay. Like, they was crying, and I'm getting all type of DMs, and man, this and that, and I got buddies coming out the woodwork asking me to do something about it. It's just like, dang, y'all, I ain't heard from this many people in so long, but it's like, oh, you really special. Like, you're really changing. Like, I was really hearing the stories of, man, when I was 14, you got me through this. My brother was in prison, I sent him your song, and you know what I mean? It was like so many stories of how people just grew up and was like affected by my music. In my story, I was like, damn, I didn't really know that like that. I just thought y'all enjoyed the music.
Right.
Like, I didn't know it was like that therapeutic or that like life-changing where you kind of live by it.
It's important.
Yeah, then I was like, okay, I got to put out some more music. I can't just, give it all away or just hide it or, put it out when I want to. It's like, it's paramount that I put it out because people are living their lives to this music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And, you just get caught up into just being an artist and just being in the, industry. You don't ever think that, like I said, people are like, I have people like come up to me crying.
Yeah.
And it's like I was saying the other day, like, it's kind of, it ain't embarrassing, but it'd be like,
awkward. Why?
Like,
yeah.
Relax. But then when they start telling you their story, it's like, man, I was in a car accident. I had to sit in the house for 6 months. My leg was dislocated. Woo, woo, woo. I went to therapy. I was playing your songs in therapy. And it's like, oh, man, it's like, when you get to hearing those type of stories, it's like, okay, I got to put this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
you
where
understand your
that's where I'm at.
purpose.
Absolutely.
We got Cyhi The Prynce here. The Story of EGOT. It's the EP coming out June 3rd. Come on, man. That thing sound banging. Have the beat.
I know you already know. Like what you just, Tracy G just mentioned purpose, and you and I have had conversations here as well as offline. And one of the things that I always felt about you spiritually, that you're gifted and anointed just on another level. And a lot of times when people have that anointing on them, they have to be careful.
Right.
It's not even physical things you're fighting with every day anymore. It's spiritual attacks as well. And you have to, sometimes your brain is over thinking. It's a lot with that and what you attract. How have you been able, with all that you probably are carrying, get to the point of discipline and obedience to actually put it out? Because I think that we fight ourselves sometimes in terms of just being disciplined and obedient.
Well, I always wanted to put my music out, but to be truthful, it's like I have a high taste level now. You know what I mean? Being around, the people I'm around. So I got to make sure my production is that way. My music matches it, my image, everything, my spirit is in line. So I feel like now it's just in that place where I kind of sat back and analyzed my life, my situation, and understood my purpose. Because to be honest, I was kicking the devil's butt. I mean, I didn't want to curse. I was kicking his ass or whatever. Yeah. And he was just upset, and I felt like he had a moment that he could just get me because I was slipping or,
right.
you know what I mean? I was just enjoying it too much. And it's like, nah, it's an everyday war. It's an everyday spiritual warfare with him. So once I understood that, you know what I mean, the war wasn't over with him, it was like, oh, okay, you playing with me. Okay, so now I'm coming back better than ever. I'm coming with the whole infantry of the Lord, plus, my mindset and my music and what I've learned over the years.
Right.
And it's like now I get to, like, how can I say this? I got to tap into some parts of me that I haven't tapped into.
Nice.
A lot of times I just be rapping because I can just rap very well, but now I start bringing out stories and different moments in my life that kind of give people a really deep, image of who I am. It's like a lot of times as artists, we come in and, we just try to make words rhyme and stuff. And I always had a pretty good grasp on concepts. Yeah. But then it was just like, giving them secrets or things that you may not let people know. So that's what I did on this album. It was just like my whole story in one album. So that's why I call it The Story of EGOT.
The Story of EGOT, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you touched on all of that side because when you are an individual who has bottomless talent, I'm like, how do you challenge yourself? Are you surrounding yourself with maybe a couple new people? Are you listening to like projects that almost make you feel a little bit nervous, but the nerves then turn into inspiration? You know what I'm saying? Like, which section of EGOT? Is it the Emmy? Is it the Grammy, the Oscar, or the Tony that pulled out more out of you? I feel like the Grammy might have been more easier.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I think the Oscar section is what really pulled it out of me.
Okay.
Because I was like actually getting into the movie. It was like more
What's the
cinematic.
story?
Yeah, it was really like, because the Emmy part is super like, hip hop. We using the old like television kind of sounds and sitcom is like real cool like situations. The Grammy section is just great music.
Yes.
Right.
But the Oscars is when I really dove into like the story and the suspensefulness and the mystique of who I am. And then once I got to Tony, I was just feeling myself.
Any issues of overthinking?
People say that, but when I see somebody like Kendrick come out, I'll just be like, I'm just gonna overthink. Because that's what overthink looks like. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's what overthinking at its highest level.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
I want to overthink it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, but now what I did do is like I had so many songs that I overthought on that it ain't gonna take me that long to put them out.
Okay.
It's like now I can just go every 6 months. Like, you know what I mean? Like I got Sadella Cootie on the way. I got the Spook that's set by the Trap. I got different projects that I actually already have ready to go. So
The spook that's set by the trap.
yes, and then the cool thing about it is like I'm with Ghazi now, so Ghazi understands.
He from the Bay. You know what that is.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, he gonna
I
be
do
like,
know.
okay, we ready. Next, you ready? Let's go. So he's not like a traditional, record label. He lets you be, yourself and lets you, if this the plan that you want to do, if this your rollout, this your 3 to 5 year plan, let's do it.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's a blessing.
Ghazi has a full understanding. I want to ask you, man, when you talk about spirituality, and I know Ye has really gone through. Turn that music bed down for me. Ye has really gone through I don't know if it's a transformation, but an upliftment, if you will, and dedicated his life to the Lord and his music. We pray together. Me and my team.
Right.
We really sit down and say prayers. We don't eat without prayer. We might pray in the middle of the day for no reason. What seems like any reasons. Do y'all pray? Do y'all pray together?
Absolutely. We actually pray more than people probably think. It might be, especially when we was in Wyoming and different things. We having Bible study. We praying 5-10 times a day.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's overwhelmingly prayer. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, bro, like. We just did one, you know what I'm saying? Like, what we doing?
Wow.
Like, so I think with him, he's very spiritual on that level, And like I said, he's someone, man. When you will in the universe, it's like I always tell people, like it's like playing tug of war. When you pull it, you might get the cursing, you might get to doing whatever, but you will in that energy and that positivity. So with him, a lot of times that's what I look at him as. It's like. He's wrestling with the universe, and that ain't an easy fight. You know what I'm saying? So, especially when you feel like you're doing it alone. So sometimes it's like we need that prayer. He definitely brings prayer everywhere he goes. Like we be on the jet, he gonna say a prayer. We in the backstage. It's just we with the family. We on the ranch, whatever. So. Bro is very spiritual in that way.
That bring people closer though.
Yeah,
better
you know
understanding,
it.
right?
Yes,
Spiritual obligation. Mike Muse, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I do. I've been listening to this wonderful conversation you guys are having, and I'm looking at the story of EGOT and really deconstructing, to me, what a typical hip-hop album is. I feel like you're pushing the boundaries with that.
Yep.
I'm just curious what your thoughts are lately, because I'm thinking about what's happening in the state legislature of New York and how they passed this new legislation where district attorneys can't use rap lyrics anymore to be part of any investigation. Hearing your story about the potential assassination on your life, thinking about Georgia, like what are your thoughts on like Young Thug and Gunna and what's happening with them with that Rico case and the lyrics that's being used?
Yeah, that's a sad situation because you're so close to it, and artists are coming from a real place, but it's like the pressure from everyone to be that image of who they are. It's like you can never like. I heard somebody say, like, you don't see Arnold Schwarzenegger just out here just, like, trying to be, like, Terminator or, like, Rambo trying to be, like, actually Rambo in the street. But for some reason, it's, like, it's hard to let go because, to be successful is to be alone. You know what I mean? So
Really?
it's like, so it's like, if you just, like, I could come up here with my publicist and my camera lady, and it's like, but those are not like, I didn't grow up with them.
Yeah.
So you get successful, you want to bring your homies with you, and you want to bring everybody else with you, and that's when it get tricky. You know what I mean? And a lot of times those past traumas haven't went away. You know what I mean? A lot of times people's like, man, you die in your own hood. Yeah, because them the only people you ever had problems with. You know what I'm saying? You go somewhere new, it's like they don't know you.
Right.
But, being in our environment, it's like, man, it's that imaginary line it's an imaginary fence that circles us in our community that we feel like we can't go outside of. And it's like they keep us in this little box.
Yeah.
And we just fight it out with each other. And the more money you get more engulfed in it. You feel like you kind of should be, that's the smart thing to do is get away. But you drive yourself crazy with being alone. So you just go back to your friends, and your friends ain't made it.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're the only one. And that's when it get, that's when you start mixing those two worlds. And to me, that's what I feel like is going on in hip hop. Is that they can't lead their friends.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that's the hardship of, like I said, the black plight is serious.
The black plight
It
is
truly
complex.
is.
It's
It's
complex.
perplexing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even to me, I got something I want to say. Even to me, it's really the record label's fault.
Okay.
Okay, break that down.
Because it's like, I mean, when I was kind of coming up in the game, it was like, man, why don't you go get yourself popping like, the other guys in my city, like, a Young Thug or something. It's like, oh, you talking about penitentiary chances.
Huh.
How much you spend on the record to market a record? Oh, $500,000, $1 million. Now you see all these independent artists that come out of Atlanta and blow up. They not signed to real estate agents.
Yeah.
They not signed to no Bitcoin. No, they getting this money out the street. This come with, for every one Young Thug, it's 100 of them in prison. It's 100 of them dead.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to meet Young Thug. That's
Right.
the one that made it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
right.
So imagine what's going on in a city where these guys, these companies don't want to do the artist development. They don't want to be the A&Rs. I mean, when I was first coming up, I was doing showcases.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I got signed from L.A. Reid from a showcase.
Showcases.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? They don't have no showcases.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, get your buzz going, get your buzz going. Dolph was like, man, it's taking me $1 million to
Right.
get a record going.
Yeah.
So it's like, where you going to
Get it
conjure up
from.
that money from?
Yup.
All right, and
yup.
it comes with all the rest of it. So to me, it's really the record labels that kind of force these young men to kind of go to the
Ain't that
extreme
something?
to be able to be
Yeah.
rappers or hip hop artists.
Yeah. What's the solution?
Well, the solution one is me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because
you go.
I feel like I'm one of those artists who kind of cold turkey the street and just strictly doing it off music. But you got artists like J. Cole's and Kendrick's and Meek's, etc. But I think the solution is when you see a bed of music flourishing, i.e. Atlanta, it should be a Sony building there.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a Universal building. It should be reps that are there to kind of, see that talent early and hire more black A&Rs that understand the culture and not, some, no disrespect, some white guy or something that's a fan of the culture. You know what I mean?
Right.
You need to be real, like me, artists that, understand what's going on, that's former artists, like how they doing. A lot of the best basketball coaches right now are former players.
Players.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
Shout out to Jason Kidd.
yeah, Jason
Steve
Kidd.
Kerr.
Yeah. So that's what needs to go on in music for us to, change that narrative.
The Story of EGOT is the project. It's the EP. It's out on June 3rd. EGOT Records is the company.
Yes.
You got artists signed to you?
Not yet, but I'm looking for them. I got producers though. I
Yeah?
got producers, yeah.
Why producers first?
Well, I think I kind of wanted to, really cultivate the sound of what I wanted to do so kids or another artist can be like, oh, okay, he can. Like, that's why it's the EGOT, because it has so many different sounds that it's like, oh, I can go here and he can understand my music. You know what I mean? That's the first thing. You want to have a great canvas for them to paint on. You know what I mean? So I wanted to give that and have those producers ready for them. So when I do have artists that I want to sign, they can come in and have something to work with, have a team, have a publishing team, have a marketing team, ads,
Gotcha.
everything. That's things that I learned and I'm putting into this album that I probably didn't know in my first one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just being able to have the full spectrum of the business to your exposure, is what I wanted to do. So I wanted to build it slowly and organic.
Cyhi The Prynce, man, I'm proud of you. I love you if I haven't told you that before, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
Love
telling
you as well,
man.
brother.
I'm telling you that.
For sure.
That young man right there with the shiny forearms, is that as a result of what happened last year?
Oh. No, he's always been with me. But the crazy thing is,
Shiny forearm.
you know what's crazy?
It's forearms.
They are
man.
shiny.
Yeah.
He always usually
Hydrated.
be with me.
Oh,
But I
word.
just didn't have, I was going out. It was like a normal Thursday night. Me and my buddy. What happened is my buddy had just got his Bentley too, and he's speeding up the highway. You know me, I'm cruising, and it just got like that. But usually people are with me, and I usually ain't out. But one night I ain't gonna be able to stop that. That was something that God, wanted me to go through.
Okay.
So I feel like that was, just a breakthrough in my life that he was giving me. I think he wanted to show me how incredible he was.
There it is, man.
You know what I
Wow.
mean? So
Let me do one more question, Tracy, before I ask him to do something that
I appreciate that.
Between Tracy and Mike.
But you see what I go through.
Let me see if I can squeeze this in. Maybe Mike, you can tailgate behind me. But Cyhi, when you mentioned that to be successful is to be alone, and I'm always thinking about, especially in hip hop, from a psychological perspective, and how for maybe 98% of the game, getting into this industry is a form of survival, and people forget about that. I'm always like, record labels should have mental health professionals on deck, because you need to know how to navigate this emotionally. But it makes me also think, we hear so many folks say, this is my fam, this is my brother, my sister, but we don't hear folks say, this is my friend, you know? And I think we even have to discuss how to make friends better as adults, to go into like our trust issues. And I'm curious, who would you say in this industry are genuinely your friends that you didn't know coming up?
Well, you know, it's crazy. Pusha T is genuinely my friend.
Pusha T, that's a real one right there, boy.
He's a great guy, man. Like, we talk about random. So you know, I know every word the Lord willing. You know what I mean? So when I call him, he pick up the phone. It still amazes me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, damn, I'm on the phone with Push. You know what I mean? But
That's beautiful.
You know, Ye is definitely an amazing friend. You know what I mean? Like, the one thing about you got to be around him 24 hours. You know what I mean? Because whatever you think you don't like about him, on the flip side, he's an amazing individual. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't explain enough how much he cares. And, you know, you may think because it's money or whatever, but it's not. It's like, I seen him with about 300 employees and know everybody first and last name.
Oh,
wow.
And, you know what I mean? It's like, he know your kids, your family name. It's like, bro, how you remember that? But you think that he ain't got enough time to, like,
take that information or care, right?
Care. Like, how do you know? Like, he always say, man, I take care of 150 families, not just the person that works for me. It's like, I take care of
the family, the unit.
Yeah, so it's like, you got people like him. You know, Sean is definitely a close friend.
Big Sean?
Yeah, absolutely. Sway, Heather B, like, those type of people that check on me is like, you know, those are the friends that I really, you know, cherish. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's a loner game. You know what I mean? You don't really have a lot of friends because you just try to, you know, keep it business, keep it cordial. But those who you do connect with, you definitely connect and you feel it.
We got Lamb on the line from Flint, Michigan. Lamb, go ahead. You got a quick question?
What up, Lamb?
Yeah, quick question. Good morning to y'all, Grand Risings. I just heard him Triad say that, mention that people are living the music. They living their life to the music, right? And I'm from Flint, and my community is hit hard with it. We've been listening, you know, to trap music, murder music for years, and now the youth are doing it. It's like, when do the artists take accountability for what they create?
Okay.
I think a lot of times they don't. What else do we know? I mean, I would say I'm not even from the hood like that. I'm like from a decent area. But I grew up on fist fights, shootouts, you know, getting kicked out of school. Shit, I went to Scared Straight twice, juvenile. It's just like, sometimes it's just all you, because it's like, man, you like to, I don't like to be like, man, we poor and we got less resources, but that's really true. You know what I'm saying? You got kids that's being born with no fathers. Like, I was saying to person, most of these kids ain't never heard a man's voice until they about 18, 19.
Never heard a man's voice?
Never heard a man's voice. You got to think, your teacher 9 times out of 10 gonna be a lady. If your mama got you, if she want to go somewhere out, she ain't gonna take you to your uncle's house.
Yeah.
She probably gonna take you to your auntie house. That's like more safer on that end. So you grow up.
Your grandmother.
You don't even get to a man till the police knock on your door and you're 17. You just got your license.
Ain't that something?
And you like, hey man, why you talking to me like that?
Right.
You know, you reacting like,
because it's so unfamiliar.
Yeah, you're unfamiliar.
And
like,
you're used to being an only man in your life.
See, that's why I was black. I had my old man, so I feel like it kind of gave me a balance. Like, I knew if my mom was mad and my dad wasn't mad, I knew it was something that women kind of didn't like. If I knew my dad was mad, my mom was like, see, I told you your dad was going to, if I stole something, my dad would probably whoop my ass with her. Told you not to put, my mom wasn't that mad. But then I felt like if they both was mad, it was like a cardinal sin. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, that's how I know how to navigate through life, because I did have that. So with me, you might hear a little more, reasoning in my music to and understanding. But a lot of these kids ain't had
Don't
their
have
old
that.
man or, you know what I'm
You're
saying,
right.
around. So it's like, what are they doing? They learning off trial and error. You know what I mean? Then you can't discipline your kids no more. So these kids coming up, drugs, all that in the play and, Instagram, and you trying to, we didn't know what the outside of our community looked like.
And then too, Cy, we always say this here, just stop blaming the artist. Stop putting all of it on the artist. The level it takes to go from writing a song on your auntie's futon to the radio, 100 people are involved in that process.
Yeah. Right,
You know how many yeses you got along the way?
Yeah.
So just don't put it all on the artist, because to Cy's point, to Sway's point over the years, there's nobody there to jump in and stop and say, hey, let me talk to you for a minute. Let me have that consultant, that showcase, that time. Perform in front of these people. You watching their faces. Let me see. Nobody stops you. So it's a lot of people that check this off of, y'all need to stop making this music. You know how many?
Just the artist.
It ain't just
It
the
ain't just
artist.
artist. It is a bit strange though when it's like you 20 years in the game and you still talking about something that happened to you when you was younger though.
It's
At least for
trauma.
me.
It's trauma. It's like that's the only thing. Like even me rapping about, nobody wants to hear about me in Switzerland with Kanye West eating crepes.
I would like to hear that.
I mean, it do, but
Kind of
how
crepes
many
was it?
people? How many people
Can relate to it.
Watch the Throne was a lot of that though.
Yeah, but
You believed it, and it was a lot going on.
yeah,
with
that
was
you had to grow
cinematic.
with them.
You grew with
But
that.
these
You,
are
you,
young.
you don't want an
kids.
album of it though.
Yeah,
I
you
get
young
that.
kids.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is young kids, and they really don't know how to articulate themselves that well to be able to
The young ones
give
here.
their true
Yeah.
feelings. So
Listen, this is Cyhi The Prynce. Get this man a round of applause. The
Sure.
EP is out June 3rd. It's called The Story of EGOT.
yeah,
All right.
Yes,
and,
sir.
man, one of the things that have always been special here is, I feel like the first time was in DJ Drama's studio. Was that?
It was.
Yep.
When we first heard this man.
nah,
Was it-
I came to Short. That was my first time when I came to the actually New York. Yeah, that was my first time with your boy, Reverend
Ron?
Ron. Yeah.
Oh, Rev Run.
But we met
Yeah.
you
Before
before
that.
that in Drama Studio in Atlanta. You just
That's a
random.
fact.
You was in the studio in
You don't
Atlanta for
remember
some
that?
reason.
Yeah,
for
Nick
real.
Grant
we
was there.
remember.
No, that was after.
That was after Rev
Yeah,
Run?
that was after. I burnt that after. I remember that.
Okay.
yeah, that was.
I remember
okay.
that.
People
Yo.
think that's the most iconic freestyle ever.
Cause bro, you
It
was
is.
you was
Come on,
in
man.
your bag,
Yeah,
but you're
man.
right. It might have been a
Yeah.
run thing because I was
the run
looking
was
at him,
first.
It was
I
crazy.
couldn't wait to get here.
Yeah, man.
So I remember that. That was
Yeah.
my first one.
Inspired by
And then
his
we played
nephew,
that.
that album.
That's
And
right.
It dropped in February for Black History Month.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
I
That was an
remember
amazing album.
Yes.
And we made that
Mandela.
moment with Rev Run.
Oh,
Hey, man. Listen, man, we celebrating.